And once again, this Sunday, mandatory payout in the Rainbow Six Acacia. It seems like every 2 weeks now, you have a chance to win about $5 million.
That's right, Ron. We've seen the pool grow so quickly each and every day of racing here at beautiful Gulfstream Park. Pool expected to be over $5 million this Sunday as we wrap up the week of racing on a high note for sure. The sequence is races 6 through 11.
Yeah, let's take a look at the Rainbow Six. We'll start it off, of course, in race number 6. It's a mile on the turf for Phillies and Bears 4 and up. I went with Living at the Beach in here, is turning back to a mile. I thought for Joe Orsino, Ed's blinkers on the door of Treasure Beach. I used that one, but I also used the 7 and the number 9 Chardrine. I thought those were the logical 3, 7, and 9 for me for the first leg.
Well, I agree. I used the 3 and 9. I also used the number 6 Winnipeg Wonder, who's dropping in class and getting a chance to get back to the turf for Marat Senkal. Blinkers go back on as well, as she used to show quite a bit of speed. But I thought Chardonnay back on the turf, Winnipeg Wonder hopefully back on the turf. Those, I think, should be the moves. And, of course, Living at the Beach. You always have to include Irad Ortiz.
Well, race number, yeah, that's absolutely sure. So he's just been having yet another 5-win day just I believe yesterday. So we'll see how this plays out. Race 7 this afternoon, on Sunday, excuse me, is 6 furlongs claimers, Phillies and Bears 4 and up, 6,250. Acacia, I went 3 deep again with Fly So Free to 7. The number 5, Marcus Stan, and I used Beast of Wildwood. That's another one from Jorge Delgado. So he's got a couple of horses in here I think can run well, the 5 and the 4.
I agree. I just used, as far as his contingent did go, the 5 Marcus Dan. I think many may potentially single Free to Fly as she looks to make it 3 wins in a row, and that was at 12.50 or 12.5 company, now dropping down to the 62.50 for Kent Sweezy, keeping kind of the status quo with Paco Lopez aboard. She's obviously in good form, but for any horse, particularly at a low level, to have them win 3 in a row is a big ask. So including Marcus Dan, I'm just too deep in there. So I've got, I think, a horse that has some speed on the outside and one that will be closing in Marcus Dan.
Yeah, the reason I went deep, just not to belabor it, but number 7, Fly So Free, I just didn't like the drop down to 6,250 level. I thought there was other ways you can go. Back on the turf for race number 8, it's a 5 furlong sprint for claimers. Phillies and Bears 4 and up. Started it off Acacia with Swirling Candy, who's getting some class relief, followed a victory against those 30 condition claimers, 2 starts back. You know, Storks has a solid group of 20 starter allowance turf sprinters for Jose D'Angelo, Edgar Zayas, Got Glee, and Dancing Doll. So 3 deep once again for me, but I like Swirling Candy maybe to run well in that spot.
I think that Swirling Candy has a big shot in here. I'm just too deep, but I could have used about 6 horses, I think, in this race. I thought it was a very difficult race, but we're in agreement on Swirling Candy, especially because her last win, 2-back, came for $35,000. Last time against Starter Allowance Company was just in a bit over her head behind Paint Them Blues Away, who was just winning races in bunches. I thought the 9 Fightress had a big chance. She won last time out in the off-the-turf race, but had a nice couple of races with previous connections, including just 3/4 of a length behind Got Glee, 2 starts back. First off the claim for Kelly Breen, who does have 2 in here, but this barn has been really good off the claim, particularly this meet, and I think that she is versatile enough, as there could be plenty of speed in this race, that she could sit a nice trip.
Yeah, so one of those wide open and fast, so like a little earlier on, if you think you can single a horse, like in race number 7 with the Fly So Free, maybe you go 6 deep, like Acacia says, in race number 8. Very competitive field. Race number 9, 6.5 furlongs allowance, optional claimers, state bred Phillies Bears. Got my best bet in here, and it's My Ashley stepping up to face state bred maiden winners. I thought a really solid maiden special weight score at the distance. She set the pace, and she drew clear very impressively. And I like the fact that she's stepping up, and I just thought of the performance from Mike Yates, Jose Ortiz in the saddle. This horse would run well, but I saved a little bit with Tis Possible Deer. I think it's going to take a lot of money. Peter Walder Barn has been on fire.
Yeah, I think you have to use this mare, Tis Possible Deer. I'm 3 deep in here. I used those 2, as you mentioned. I also used the 4 She's All Woman. I thought that she could potentially be a little bit of a price play in this spot, but Tis Possible Deer drops in class. She went into Open Allowance Company last time out. She's back in with State Breds, where I think that she fits. She's got plenty of speed. Did win the Millions Distaff Preview back at GPW in November. And My Ashley, for all the reasons you mentioned. Mike Yates, as we always talk about, so good with these dirt sprinters. And they do train on as well, which I think is a key.
Yeah, and race number 10, it's a 5 furlong turf allowance optional claim of 4 and up. I got my long shot in here, and Acacia and I over the last couple of days we've had
I've got my long shot in here too, and I don't know what you picked, so I'm curious.
I hope it's not. I mean, I hope it is actually, because then we're thinking of like the 12 long blade. Is that it?
No,
Okay.
mine is the 11.
Okay.
So we got dueling long shots in this spot.
Well, this one returning to the turf and hoping to carve out a trip from out there. When breaking from the outside, Juan Arias, claimed him when finishing a good second at this level 2 starts back. Lionel Reyes handling the surface switch. Lionel brings in all those long shots. Got to carve out a trip from the outside. It's been tough. Thought I'd take a shot, but I also used Zano, the 3, and the number 10, Big Drink of Water.
Yeah, Big Drink of Water. First up, the claim for Carlos David, and the blinkers on. Very, very fast horse. I thought Lantano was interesting after winning off a layoff in first time for Brendan Walsh last time. And then my long shot is the 11, King Snake, who gets back on the grass after an off-the-turf try last time out. I know that he won going a mile over Gear Jockey, also owned by Calumet Farm, who ran very well at a big price in Stakes Company last weekend. But I know connections are adamant that this horse is more of a closing sprinter or a stalking type of sprinter. Does have some natural speed, and he just really got away with a soft pace 2 starts back. I think he could get a nice trip, maybe just off of that pace here, sprinting and getting back on the turf.
Well, a couple of long shots in a race, one for me, one for Acacia, so it just goes to show you how wide open it is. Once again, if you got those singles earlier on, maybe you go deep there and use both of those horses. Closing it out, race 11, 6 furlongs, maiden special weight fillies. I thought Mischieful was a major player, making his second start after finishing second to a really impressive winner, and that was Boston Post Road, who's going to be in the stake on Saturday. So off that performance, I used Ian Wilkes' horse right on top.
I agree. And Ian Wilkes having a start under their belt, they typically tend to improve with racing. So I think that's a key. And I had really actually liked her quite a bit from a physical perspective and running a good second on debut from an outside post. She's got another Jad Brown runner to deal with in here, though, the one Goodnight Olive out of Salty Strike, who was a multiple graded stakes winning dirt sprinter. This is a filly by Ghost Sapper. It's been training forwardly up at Palmettos. And I also included the Bill Mott first-time starter in Giverny, who's the number 9 filly by Tappet out of a mare who was good on turf and dirt, very versatile as well. So I'm curious, there is some turf in the bottom side of the pedigree, but Bill Mott's barn has just been so strong lately.
I also used the number 7, Vigilantia, who's a 200 daughter of Intermischief, the debut for Brad Cox. Series of really solid workouts up at Palmetto, so another race that's wide open. And my ticket closed out at 97.20. I'm going to go back and look at your long shot, and maybe I have to make it a little bit more, but it's worth it with the $5 million on the line or thereabouts.
That's right, and mine is 86.40. I might have to include your long shot there. I like trying to get some prices throughout the sequence, but it wraps up certainly in a great way, too, with that maiden special weight. So 86.40 for me, but looking forward to once again having the opportunity for the mandatory payout in that Rainbow Six.